I've used the sprite sheet to change my images here on the mute and unmute button, but it's really just two images that changes just one and the other and one and the other, and there's not much difference to see from not using a sprite sheet. But the really cool thing about sprite sheets is that you can make animations where it gradually goes from one to the other. This is a bit more labor intensive than CSS animations because you have to actually draw every single frame yourself. But let me show you how. So here I have my two images. That's the start image and the end image. And I want to have a more gradual animation, but I don't want to draw too much. So right now I have two frames. Frame 1 for start and frame 2. That is my stop. But I'm going to expand it to say 5 frames. And now you really need to use your grid and make sure that your alignment is perfect. So first, let's expand the artboard here and make sure that it is the width here is, let's just say divide by 2. So we have 1 frame and then multiply by 5. So we have 5 frames. These are our 5 frames. And now let's select our end frame here. And then move it. Remember, keep shift pressed so you move it just along one axis. And make sure here it doesn't say intersect. It should not say, I can. Okay, it says intersect, but remember that we want to move it just 1-2 pixels more, because this one was 2 pixels from the edge. So now we have our 5 frames. It should start with this one and end with this one. We could consider them our keyframes, and now we just have to draw all the in-betweens or the tweens. And a nice easy way of doing that is to go and do the middle one first. So copy this, press Alt and Shift to make sure that you move in a straight line, and see the distance is here. When you have the smart guides, it actually snaps to a point where the distance is the same all around. So this is nice. See, it is still 2 pixels from the right. And then this here, this we want to lock that part, and then we want to move the speaker. It's the speaker button here. We want to move that. No, we don't want to lock everything, not this one here, but everything else. I think is it that one? I should really have better layer. Yeah, that's the one we want to lock. Okay, and then this should be moved, and once again keep shift so you move exactly, and it should be in the middle, and you can see here it snaps smart guide to just exactly in the middle, and that's where we want our button. And now I want to change the speaker as well, but I'm going to wait a little with that. First I have to unlock, and then I'm copying. Press Alt and also Shift to make sure you move in a straight line. And once again, it should, here the smart guides should catch it, and you have exactly 4 pixels at each side. Let's lock that one so we don't move it, and then we want to move this halfway between the beginning and this position where it is now. And if you move it, once again press Shift. When it's here, it's there. That's the same as the beginning. It should be somewhere, or it should be exactly in the middle actually. You can see, you can kind of catch it here. And again, the smart guides really help you. Now the distance is the same. This one is halfway in between this and this. And we'll do the same the other direction. Unlock here. Mark everything. Press Alt and Shift to move in a straight line. And use the smart guides. There it should be snap and lock that one. Yes, that's what's the right one. And then move this. Oh, was it? No. It's that one. Make sure it's locked. And then move the speaker once again. Press Shift so you move in a straight line. And use the smart guides. Here it snaps. Where is halfway? I'm a bit... There it is, I think. Yeah. So now we have an animation where it goes from the left to the right. And I also want these speaker symbols to change. I want here it should be a bit smaller. So that one will disappear from all of them. And now this one should disappear. And it should disappear here as well. And then we will have, it should gradually go lower, 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 lowest, and muted. So this is our animation. So let's try and export this. And still our mute button, spreadsheet, excellent. And we replace the old one. So now's the time to change our CSS, because if we look at it now, we have a lot of images here, 2.5 image. And that is of course because we set this to 200%, but now we have 5 images. So it's actually going to be 500%. And if we change the background position, we can see at 0%, we have just the beginning. At 100%, we have the end. Oh, but what about minus 100%? Ah, there we have the second one. And at minus 200%, we have the third one, and at minus 300 we have the fourth one, and at minus 400 we have the end. So if we could go from 0 to minus 100, 200, 300, 400, that would give us an animation. So let's try and make an animation, and for starters we just make it directly here, and then we'll move it into a class afterwards. So let's create an animation. Name, let's say muting. Yes, and that would have some keyframes. Let's just call them muting. You know, I'm going to add this KF because otherwise I'll confuse myself. And they would go from our background position of 0% to our background position of what we have now, minus 400% and 0. That is the other 0 is if we also wanted to go in the other direction, but we don't. Okay, so that's the animation name. Let's give it a duration of 1 second. And iteration count of infinite, just so we can see. Oh, that looks awful. It looks like it scrolls. We want it to stop at every interval. So we want to show just 1 frame at a time, not scroll between them. And we can do that with the animation timing function. where we've done the easing and the linear, but we can also do the steps and say, okay, there should be how many images? 5? Well, that was a bit weird. Yes, there are 5 images, but we actually only want to show 4 of them. No, we also want the last one. Okay, so let's set the animation count to 1 and the animation fill mode to forwards. And then I just need to reload. See? There we go. We have an animation going. So that's our muting. We could put that into an class. Muting. Take all of this. And it should go a bit faster, I think. 0.6 second. And then I should be able to take my element here. Okay, if I reload, it shows me. Oh yeah, it just shows this one. That would be the muted. Here, and the unmuted. So if I take my button and add my muting, then it changes to muting. And if I remove it, it's still too slow. 0.4. It's still too slow. 0.3. Yeah, that looks almost smooth. 0.25. That looks smooth. Yeah. Okay, so now I just need to change the JavaScript. No, I also need another animation. I need the unmuting animation. I can say I want to go from my animation name. That's still my muting KF. And my duration is my 0.25 seconds. And my iteration is my 1. And my timing is my 4 steps. And my fill mode is going to be also forwards, but my direction is going to be reversed. Let's see if I can unmuting. It seems like it doesn't actually show the first one, huh? That's strange. Should this be backwards? Okay, so I can't use the same keyframes because even though I want to go from -400 to 0, it's apparently not the same. Now it works. Good. So I have an animation going from muted to, or from unmuted to muted, and another one going from muted to unmuted. And then I just need my class here, unmuted, for background position. How does it work with my JavaScript? That doesn't work at all. Let me just turn that off. Still works, but I'm going to add the animations. then I have a bit of work, because here it should go from being not muted to muted. So I'm going to add the class muting. That works. And now I have to go back the next time I click it, and then I can't just remove muting. I can do that, but I also need to add the unmuting. So I can mute it, and I can unmute it. Mute it, and unmute it. You know what? I also need to remove the unmuting up here. Even though it doesn't disturb, I think it would be a good idea. So now I have a nice smooth animation for my mute and unmute button here. And that is the magic of sprite sheet animations.